21-year-old Sakina Thompson is accused of traveling from New York to Tamarack and stabbing her boyfriend's lover to death.
At 23 years old, Kayla Hodgson was found brutally murdered inside her own apartment. No forced entry, no break-in, no warning. Someone walked into her home and didn't let her walk out alive. What nobody knew, not her friends, not her family, was that the danger wasn't from a stranger, but from a woman she'd never met face-to-face, a woman driven by jealousy, by obsession, and by a single action Kayla took online, blocking her. In this episode, we're going to show you the digital trail investigators uncovered, the decisions that turned an online conflict into a real-world killing, and the steps that revealed a premeditated attack no one saw coming. Have you ever blocked someone online because their behavior felt off? Tell me in comments, because stories like Kayla's remind us that the first red flag often appears on a screen long before it shows up at your door. Welcome to the Crime Anatomy. We uncover the real stories behind the nation's most disturbing cases. If stories like this matter to you, consider subscribing and turning on notifications so you never miss an episode. Now let's go back to who Kayla was, before a stranger's jealousy rewrote her future. Before Kayla became the center of a homicide investigation. Before court dates, extraditions, and headlines. Before a jealous ex crossed state lines with a knife and a disguise. She was a 23-year-old woman building her life in South Florida. She was the one with the smile that lit up a room. The one who friends described as the life of the party. A young woman who wasn't just loved, she was cherished. Kayla lived in an apartment at Tamarack Village, a Broward County complex northwest of Fort Lauderdale. It wasn't expensive, it wasn't glamorous, but it was hers, a place she worked hard to afford, a sign of independence in her early 20s. She worked in hospitality, a bottle girl, waitress, bartender. The kind of work where personality matters just as much as skill. And Kayla had personality in abundance. Customers remembered her energy. Co-workers remembered her warmth. Friends remembered how she always showed up, for birthdays, for late-night calls, for everything that mattered. Her family described her as compassionate, humble, loyal, and magnetic. Someone who drew people in not because she tried to, but because it came naturally. Kayla wasn't involved in drama. She wasn't feuding with anyone. She had never met the woman who would take her life. She wasn't part of the instability and toxicity that defined another couple's relationship. She was simply dating someone whose past wouldn't let go. Kayla didn't pick a fight. She didn't provoke anyone. She set one digital boundary, a block, and someone else turned that into a death sentence. That's the part that sits heavy. That's the part that keeps people awake at night. That's the part this story forces us to confront. Because Kayla wasn't killed in a bar fight, or in a random attack, or during a robbery gone wrong. She was killed because someone she had never wronged, never harmed, never engaged with, decided that she existed in the wrong place at the wrong time, in the wrong man's life. She was killed by someone who crossed state lines because she couldn't accept a breakup. She was killed because jealousy, when mixed with obsession, can become its own kind of weapon. But to understand the depth of that escalation, how a block turned into surveillance, travel, disguise, and violence, we have to go back to the beginning of the triangle that set everything in motion. Jealousy doesn't usually explode out of nowhere. It builds moment by moment, look by look, click by click, until one person decides their pain is someone else's fault. In Kayla's case, that buildup starts long before the murder, inside a nightlife scene where music is loud, lights are low, and one brief moment on a dance floor becomes the seed of something deadly. By 2022, Kayla Hodgson was living her life in South Florida, working in hospitality, moving through the nightlife world, bars, clubs, private events in Tamarack and Fort Lauderdale. It was a scene she knew well, a scene where she thrived. Social, outgoing, and comfortable in that environment, she crossed paths with countless people. One of them was a man named Terry, according to later reporting. It was during a trip or night out in Miami that things truly began. Terry was seen at a party, and at some point, he and Kayla shared a dance. Nothing outrageous, nothing scandalous, just two people enjoying music in a crowd full of strangers and acquaintances. But someone else was watching. That someone was Sakina Thompson, Terry's longtime girlfriend, a woman whose relationship with him had reportedly been rocky, filled with arguments, breakups, reconciliations, and public emotional outbursts. The kind of relationship that never fully ends, it just breaks and reforms, over and over, leaving resentment and insecurity layered underneath. For most people, seeing your ex-partner whom you're hung up on dance with someone else might spark up emotions, an argument, or even a confrontation. For Thompson, it became something else. The dance itself didn't kill Kayla. The problem was what Thompson did after. Already suspicious and insecure, Thompson took a step that shifted this from emotional reaction to calculated monitoring. She placed a GPS tracker on Terry's Range Rover. This wasn't just checking someone's social media. It wasn't just scrolling through tag photos. This was physical tracking, a technological leash that allowed her to see not just what he posted, but where he actually went. When that tracker later showed Terry's car at Kayla's apartment complex in Tamarack, Thompson's jealousy hardened into conviction. In her mind, this wasn't speculation anymore. It was confirmation. He was with her. He was going to her home. And Kayla, a woman Thompson barely knew, became the symbol of everything she felt she was losing. At the same time, according to accounts and analysis, Thompson was still watching from the digital sidelines, social media, online presence, patterns of behavior. When Kayla eventually blocked her, that boundary was gasoline on already burning fire. Now, Thompson wasn't just hurt. She was cut off, denied access, denied the ability to watch. From the outside, Kayla was doing what any woman would do, setting a digital boundary with someone connected to her boyfriend's past. From Thompson's perspective, that click was an insult, a final, visible sign that she had been replaced. And jealousy, once mixed with obsession and technology, has a way of turning into something much darker. There's a difference between being jealous and booking a flight. At some point after seeing Terry's car at Kayla's apartment by the GPS tracker, and after being blocked online, Thompson made a decision that crosses a line most people never would. She would go to Florida, not to leave things in the past, not to protect herself, not even to protect the baby she was reportedly 2 months pregnant with at the time. She went to confront the woman who, in her mind, had become the enemy. Even though Kayla herself had done nothing more than live her life and date someone who was supposedly free to move on. This is where the story stops being about feelings and becomes about logistics, because this decision required booking a flight from New York to South Florida, traveling across state lines to the very place the GPS tracker had already lit up, planning how she would move once she arrived, deciding at what time she would go, how she would avoid being noticed, and how she would get in. This wasn't a crime of sudden passion in a shared home. This wasn't a fight that got out of control in the heat of an argument. This was someone traveling specifically to the location she believed her ex had been with another woman, a location she only knew because she chose to track him. By the time Thompson arrived in Florida, everything was already in motion. Flight records would later show her trip from New York to South Florida in the days before the murder. Location data and digital forensics would place her where she needed to be. And social media, according to commentary and case analysis, was full of emotional posts, rants, and content reflecting her unstable emotional state and obsessive jealousy. On the outside, it looked like the usual storm of online drama, emotionally charged, volatile, but contained behind screen. On the inside, something else was forming, a narrative where Kayla wasn't just another person. She was the problem, the reason, the obstacle. These kinds of internal stories are dangerous because once someone decides you are the problem, they start to believe that removing you is a solution. What happened next would later be reconstructed through data and surveillance. Pieces of a puzzle that, once put together, painted a chilling picture of intent. On the morning of July 13th, 2022, in the quiet pre-dawn hours, Thompson used a fake or alternate Uber account to travel to Kayla's apartment complex at Tamarack Village. She wasn't moving like a visitor. She was moving like someone trying not to leave traces. When she arrived at the complex, security cameras recorded what prosecutors would later highlight as one of the most damning visuals in the entire case. A woman consistent with Thompson's build and appearance, dressed in a wide-brim hat, a face mask and gloves, entering the property around 5 a.m. Hat, mask, gloves. If you've ever wondered what premeditation looks like in real life, it looks like that. The hat and mask obscured her face. The gloves minimized fingerprints and DNA. You don't accidentally dress like that for a casual conversation. You don't accidentally show up before sunrise at the exact apartment complex your ex's GPS tracker led you to. You don't accidentally travel under a hidden account when you could have used your own. These are choices, steps, precise, layered actions, the kind that speak louder in court than any words ever could. One detail that came out later would haunt many people who heard it. At some point, Thompson appears to have framed this confrontation as a woman-to-woman talk. That phrase is deliberately disarming. It implies maturity. It implies understanding. It implies closure. But according to prosecutors, it was a ruse, a way to get close, a way to be let in, a way to enter Kayla's private space without setting off alarms, emotional or physical. There were no signs of forced entry at Kayla's apartment. No broken door, no kicked-in frame, which means Kayla either let her in or the building's access allowed Thompson to slip through behind someone else, reaching her door without difficulty. From Kayla's perspective, she was at home, her space, her sanctuary. Even if there was tension in the air, she had no real reason to believe that opening that door would be the last thing she ever did. From Thompson's perspective, prosecutors argue, the entire approach was part of a plan. Appear early, arrive hidden, gain entry without suspicion, and once inside, make sure the woman she had watched, tracked, and resented would never be a factor in her life again. Inside that apartment, the descent reached its final point, the place where jealousy stops being a feeling and becomes an act. We don't know every word said. We don't know every gesture or movement. What we do know comes from physical evidence, medical testimony, and the conflicting stories later told in court. We know that Kayla was violently attacked and stabbed multiple times, with some reports saying dozens of stab wounds. There were also signs of blunt force trauma, suggesting more than one type of assault. The scene reflected sustained, frenzied violence, not a quick reflex, not a single defensive strike. During her trial testimony, Thompson would claim that she blacked out. She said she acted in self-defense, alleging that Kayla attacked her first, possibly using glass from a hookah and striking toward her pregnant abdomen. She invoked fear, instinct, and a lack of memory. But here's what the lead-up tells us. You don't put a GPS tracker on some monitor where they go, learn where another woman lives, watch their life online, get blocked, fly across states, hide behind a fake Uber account, arrive at 5 a.m. in a hat, mask, and gloves, and walk into their home under the pretense of a woman-to-woman talk because you're afraid of them. Those are not the actions of someone cornered. Those are the actions of someone closing in. If you're still watching at this point, I want to ask you something. At what moment do you think this stopped being jealousy and became something truly dangerous? Was it the GPS tracker? The blocking reaction? The flight to Florida? The 5 a.m. arrival in disguise? Tell me in the comments, because recognizing that tipping point in real life could save someone. The most chilling murders are not the ones committed in a moment of passion. They are the ones where every step, every movement, every decision points in a single, terrifying direction. This is that kind of case. What happened to 23-year-old Kayla Hodgson on July 13th, 2022, did not come out of nowhere. It was a final moment in a chain of deliberate actions that began long before a knife was ever lifted. To understand the full gravity of this crime, we have to walk through the events exactly as investigators reconstructed them, using digital forensics, surveillance footage, flight data, and crime scene evidence. This is the timeline of a premeditated killing. Around 5 a.m., before the sun rose, before most residents even rolled over in bed, a lone figure approached the Tamarack Village apartment complex. The camera footage captured her grainy, but clear enough. A woman wearing a wide-brimmed hat, a COVID-style mask, gloves. This wasn't a casual outfit. This wasn't someone jogging in early morning gear. This was someone dressed to be unrecognizable, to avoid DNA transfer, to move unnoticed in the gray light of dawn. Later in court, prosecutors pointed to this outfit as one of the clearest indicators of premeditation. People going to have a conversation don't come dressed like that. And crucially, she didn't walk. She arrived by Uber. Not her account, not her name, a fake or alternate Uber account, used specifically so that her identity wouldn't show up in travel records. Investigators would later track that digital breadcrumb anyway. But at the time, It allowed her to move without alerting anyone. She entered the complex. No forced entry. No struggle at the door. This means one of two things. She slipped inside when another resident opened the door, or Kayla opened the door for her. Both possibilities are supported by the fact that Thompson had previously tracked Terry's Range Rover to this exact apartment complex, using the GPS device she planted. She didn't guess where Kayla lived. She didn't stumble upon her. She tracked her. She knew exactly where to go, and at 5 a.m. she arrived. According to reports and prosecutor statements, Thompson used the phrase woman to woman as the basis for this confrontation, a tactic to appear calm, rational, even sympathetic. A woman to woman talk implies reconciliation, not danger. It implies understanding, not violence. Implies closure. But prosecutors state clearly, this was a ruse. The likelihood is simple. She opened the door for what she believed would be a conversation, where Thompson accessed the building first, then knocked. Either way, once inside, the situation shifted instantly. The calm tone, the disarming language, the early morning hour, all of it was part of a strategy. Inside those four walls, the doorway between life and death closed behind Kayla before she realized anything was wrong. What happened next can only be reconstructed from the aftermath, from forensic evidence, medical reports, and later trial testimony. Inside the apartment, a violent struggle erupted. Kayla was stabbed multiple times. Several outlets described the wounds as dozens. There were also signs of blunt force trauma. This wasn't a defensive scuffle. This wasn't a single moment of panic. This was sustained rage, a frenzied, overwhelming assault. During the trial, Thompson offered her version of events. She said she blacked out. She claimed Kayla attacked her first, allegedly slashing toward her pregnant abdomen with glass from a hookah. She said she feared for her unborn child. She said she remembered nothing after that. But the prosecution had the timeline, the preparation, and the aftermath. And they argued that everything pointed to one thing: intent, not fear, not confusion, not self-defense. They highlighted the flight, the disguise, the fake Uber, the early arrival, and the sheer brutality of the stabbing. When someone flies across states, hides their identity, arrives before dawn, enters a victim's home, and unleashes extreme violence, that's not a blackout. That's premeditation, prosecutors argued.
State prosecutors questioned Sakina Thompson about why she stabbed Kayla Hodgson to death inside of Hodgson's Tamarack home 3 years ago. Thompson told jurors she went to Hodgson's apartment uninvited to talk woman to woman about dating the same man. Thompson claims Hodgson attacked her.
Punching me.
Punching you where?
My face.
Where on your face? Point to it for us.
I don't remember, but everywhere
You
on my
don't
face.
remember where she was punching you in your face?
In my face.
I mean, this is why you killed her, right?
No.
Right?
No.
It's not?
No.
You didn't kill her because she was fighting you?
No, I killed her because she took the glass from the hookah and slashed me across my stomach.
Thompson says she was 2 months pregnant at the time. She says Hodgson cut her stomach with a piece of glass. Thompson grabbed the glass and then blacked out. She allegedly awoke to Hodgson dead on the floor. Gruesome autopsy photos of Hodgson's body show she was stabbed dozens of times.
I wasn't really walking over the blood, I was walking in the blood.
You walked in the blood?
Yes.
With what shoes?
The BB shoes. I changed my shoes.
Thompson admitted to changing into the victim's clothes, cleaning up some of the crime scene, and being too scared to call police. She also threw evidence in the trash.
No, she's getting close enough because my jacket was cut up.
Okay, your jacket was cut up.
My jacket was cut up.
Okay, and what'd you do with that jacket?
Threw it away.
In the months leading up to the killing, Thompson admitted to getting upset when Hodgson blocked her on social media. The state says she was upset enough to kill.
You wrote her on IG, and she, in fact, ignored your message initially, correct?
Correct.
And that made you angry.
Correct.
What Thompson did after the attack may be the most revealing moment of all. According to reports, she changed out of her bloody clothes. She put on some of Kayla's clothing. She tried to clean parts of the apartment. She attempted to dispose of incriminating items. These actions are not panic. They are not shock. They are not someone waking up confused after a blackout. They are the actions of someone who knows exactly what they did and who is trying to minimize evidence before leaving. But the biggest mistake, the one investigators would later seize on, was the attempt to clean the scene and change clothes. It showed consciousness of guilt. It showed she was thinking clearly enough to cover her tracks. It showed planning. Kayla's body was discovered later that same day, July 13th, 2022, when someone entered her apartment and called authorities. Deputies and fire rescue arrived at Tamarack Village and found what they later described as a gruesome scene. A 23-year-old woman, brutally murdered inside her own home. Her life ended not because of a fight she started, or a decision she made, or a risk she took. Her life ended because someone else obsessed over her existence. The moment first responders arrived, this case stopped being a mystery and became a manhunt. Modern homicide investigations are puzzles, and this one required assembling pieces from 2 states, multiple digital systems, and physical evidence in Kayla's apartment. After the murder, Thompson left Florida and returned to New York. She didn't turn herself in. She didn't call for help. She didn't claim fear or confusion. She fled, and investigators followed. This wasn't fear. This was decision after decision after decision, all pointing toward one outcome: Kayla's death. On August 3rd, 2022, weeks after Kayla's murder, authorities located and arrested Thompson in New York. She was taken into custody, held, and eventually extradited back to Florida to face charges. From that moment forward, the case moved into the legal arena, and everything Thompson did before, during, and after the attack became the focus of a courtroom battle. Once in Broward County, Thompson faced a charge of first-degree murder, an accusation that requires proof of premeditation and intent. In October 2025, a Broward County jury found 31-year-old Sakina Thompson guilty of first-degree murder for killing 23-year-old Kayla Hodgson. The verdict was not delayed. It was not hesitant. It was not uncertain. It was clear. Thompson now faces the possibility of spending the rest of her life in prison. For Kayla's family, the verdict brought something they had been denied for 3 years: a measure of peace, a sense of justice, a recognition of what Kayla suffered and why. Her mother and relatives spoke publicly afterward, saying Kayla did not deserve to die the way that she did. Their grief was still heavy, but for the first time since July 13, 2022, it didn't feel unanswered. The verdict brought closure, but closure is not the same as repair. No trial can bring Kayla back. No sentence can rebuild the life she was working so hard to create. And no courtroom victory can erase the 3 years her family spent living with questions, nightmares, and buried what-ifs. But justice at its core is not about erasing pain. It's about acknowledging truth. And in this case, the truth was undeniable. Kayla's death was not fate, not coincidence, not miscommunication. It was the result of premeditation, obsessive jealousy, and layers of ignored danger signs that built toward an outcome only one person chose. The court recognized that. The jury recognized that. And the community recognized that. But recognition is just the first step. What comes next, the lessons, the warnings, the awareness, is the only part of the story that can help someone else survive what Kayla didn't. Unlike many true crime stories where systemic failures stack up until the victim is left alone, Kayla's case followed a different pattern. The system caught the killer. The evidence was gathered carefully. Digital forensics were used swiftly. The suspect was tracked across state lines. The extradition was efficient. The prosecution was thorough. But all of that happened after the violence, after the loss, after the attack, after a young woman's life was stolen in her own home. Justice came, but too late to save her. And that's the harsh truth at the center of this case. Even when the system works perfectly after a murder, it does nothing to prevent one. The real prevention starts long before investigators get involved. It starts with the signs, the patterns, the escalation, the things bystanders dismiss as drama or relationship issues, even when they are actually the early stages of obsession.
The defendant is guilty of murder in the first degree.
Guilty is what this family has waited to hear for more than 3 years.
We finally have some justice for Kayla.
A jury found Sakina Thompson guilty of killing 23-year-old Kayla Hodgson in 2022.
December 26th.
Hodgson's family cried tears of joy in the courtroom Tuesday. They hugged each other tight because a guilty verdict is what they prayed for.
We're so thankful in this moment that the jury was able to see the story for what it is, that Kayla did not deserve to die the way that she did.
Defense attorneys insist Thompson didn't start the fight. They say Hodgson hit Thompson first and cut her stomach with a piece of glass. When Thompson took the stand earlier in the week, she admitted she killed Hodgson because her life was in danger and she was pregnant.
She thought, oh God, she's coming for me and my baby. That's when she grabs the glass and then she blacks out.
When I heard guilty, it was what we all needed for closure in this moment to move forward, to start our healing process. It's been a long 3.5 years.
Jealousy alone doesn't create killers, but obsession fed by jealousy creates the mindset. For healthy people, being blocked is a boundary. For dangerous people, being blocked is a trigger. Kayla blocking Thompson wasn't aggression. It was a normal, reasonable boundary. But in Thompson's mind, it represented humiliation, exclusion, and loss of control. Modern technology has wired insecure minds to believe that access equals power. Take away access and they feel powerless. And powerless people with no emotional regulation sometimes lash out violently, not because they're blocked, but because blocking shows them who they really are without control. Kayla's case offers real, actionable lessons, not theoretical advice, not victim blaming, just raw, factual insight into what patterns become lethal. Kayla wasn't famous. She wasn't political. She wasn't involved in drama or conflict. She was simply living, building a life, working hard, loving her people, and carving out her path as a young adult. Her murder wasn't the result of choices she made. It was the result of choices someone else refused to let go of. The community that mourned her, friends, co-workers, family, strangers, all described the same woman: warm, magnetic, kind, full of life, deeply loved. Her death wasn't fair. It wasn't inevitable. It wasn't random. It was preventable not by her, but by recognizing the danger signs long before obsession grew into violence. If there's one message her story leaves us with, it's this: jealousy is not flattering. Obsession is not love. Possessiveness is not passion. And violence is never sudden. It is built step by step, long before the first blow is struck. Kayla didn't get to tell her story. We're telling it for her. And if her story moved you, if it made you rethink the warning signs, the behaviors we shrug off, the digital patterns we ignore, then help make sure people hear it. Share it. Comment on it. Talk about the patterns. Talk about the red flags. Talk about the way jealousy escalates when nobody is paying attention. You never know who might recognize their situation in Kayla's story and choose safety because of it. This is the crime anatomy, where we don't just tell the story, we learn from it. Stay safe, stay aware, and honor Kayla by watching out for the signs she never got the chance to see.